His counterpart. Minister of General's Office for approval. The Republic of Korea DPRK comes into effect. The Military Justice Bill and National Service Bill. MACL reveals that completed this year and that the waterfront would develop in the waterfront of expectations due to various MACL Adil Musa stated that for franchise brands head International Airport. MACL completed. MACL pledged all preparations about signing agreement. They are industry. The first floor is the domestic terminal, while the second will have the capacity to serve 200 to 300. Ambassador of Maldives agreement with United Kingdom. Maldives
in independence and a supporter to the nation in both bilateral has expanded its scope in field in both tourism. Phone interview with PSM News and diplomatic relations which benefit the Maldivian economy. Abdul Qayyum interest in establishing a free trade at a fast pace to hold talks between both nations. Benefits of strong bilateral ties with UK nation. He also shed light on the environment protection. In 2018, the most successful and expanding Maldivian tourism.
Establishing a new pick post station. Maldives Post stated that a service that is available pick post service to participate in the record-breaking number of travel fairs and exhibitions in the year. The nation has witnessed a major boost in promoting Maldivian tourism. They have planned to expand the and public relations cooperation. Maldives Association of Travel Agents is also expected to take part in 15 fairs. The Ministry of Tourism is also arrivals to Maldives in 2017 stood at a record-breaking 1.3 million. Despite Pakistan's efforts to reach China's Central Television on Friday, Rana commented on recent in the announcement by the U.S. State Department that when it comes to counter-terrorism operations, he said the country depends on its border with Afghanistan. The Foreign Ministry of Pakistan on Friday said that the role of U.S. security Asian region where Pakistan when dealing with issues of terrorism in the Pakistan. The Pakistani Prime Minister on Tuesday revealed information during high-level consultation. Pakistan's reaction to the suspension of China's ban on critical energy supplies to the Democratic People's Republic of Korea (DPRK) comes into effect.
Beijing tightened exports of both crude oil and refined petroleum products to Pyongyang. The move is in line with the latest United Nations sanctions. It also follows an agreement to hold the first official talks between the DPRK and the Republic of Korea next week. China's chief negotiator on the DPRK nuclear issue, Kong Zhuyu, said Beijing welcomes positive developments on the Korean peninsula. Meanwhile, the Chinese Foreign Ministry has also urged all parties concerned to bring negotiations back on track.
France's ambassador to the United Nations tells the UN Security Council meeting on Friday that recent protests in Iran do not threaten international peace and security. This statement has been described.
France's ambassador to the United Nations said recent protests in Iran do not threaten the international peace and security. He added that the Security Council must be wary of any attempt to exploit this crisis for personal ends, which would have the diametrically opposed outcome to that which is wished. He said that the change in Iran will not come from the outside, but that it will come from the Iranian people themselves. Also during the meeting, Iran's ambassador to the United Nations said that his government has hard evidence that the recent protests in Iran were very clearly directed from abroad. Iranian ambassador also said that the United States had abused its power as a permanent member of the Security Council by calling for a meeting to discuss the protests. Russia's ambassador said the real reason for convening the meeting was not an attempt to protect human rights or promote the interests of the Iranian people, but rather a veiled attempts to continue to undermine the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action.
Michael Wolff's book, Fan Fury, Inside the Trump's White House was an instant bestseller on Friday. Its release pulled forward after published excerpts this week set off a political firestorm, threats by U.S. President Donald Trump's lawyer of legal action, and an effort to halt publication.
Book Culture, an independent bookseller in New York's Upper West Side neighborhood, drove to their warehouse Friday morning so that they could have hundreds of copies of the book ready and waiting for its customers. The 112th Street store had about 160 copies available, with 150 copies available in its other stores. The book, dismissed by Trump as full of lies, depicts a chaotic White House, a president who was ill-prepared to win the office in 2016, and Trump aides who scorned his abilities. Standing by his reporting, Wolff told NBC on Friday that Trump aides had all told him that they viewed him as a childlike. The early experts has also caused a public rift between the president and his former chief strategist and top campaign aide, Steve Bannon, over the Bannon's comment in the book about Trump and his family. Lawyers for the Trump had also called on book's publisher, Henry Holt & Co., to hold the book's release, originally scheduled for Tuesday. Instead, it began sales early on Friday. Its first day in stores, Fire and Fury was the top-selling book on Amazon.com.
Egypt forward Mohamed Salah is African Footballer of the Year for 2017, finishing ahead of his Liverpool teammate Sadio Mane of Senegal and Gabon striker Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
The 25-year-old Salah was presented with the trophy by the Confederation of African Football CAF President Ahmad at the International Conference Center in Accra, Ghana. Salah polled 625 points from a voting panel made up of national team coaches and captains, plus a selection of officials and journalists to win the award. Mane finished second on 507, with Aubameyang third on 311. Salah helped Egypt reach the African National Cup final and qualify for this year's World Cup. He also made an African record move to Liverpool and scored 23 goals in all competitions for the Premier League club in 2017. Salah is the second Egyptian to win the award after Mahmoud Al-Khatib in 1983. Salah and Mane were due to fly straight back to the Liverpool by charter jet after Thursday's ceremony, which finished at 22 hours GMT. Liverpool play local rivals Everton in FA Cup third round on Friday.
With that, we conclude the news for this bulletin. Thank you for joining us and have a pleasant day ahead. Bye-bye.